Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you how I painted this Baleful Strix border extension altar. So, the first step you can see, as always, is getting a nice neutral edge for the frame of the card. You don't want to be seeing that black border, so I just cover it up with a neutral gray usually. Next, I'll just go around the whole frame of the card, trying to get a pretty close approximation to color matching. We always come back later and try to do a bit more detail here. But for starters, we just, try to get it somewhat close. And you can see that I am mixing all my colors together. So generally in the backgrounds of a lot of cards that I paint, the colors sort of blend together, so it's a really good idea to use a wet palette when blending. So essentially just mixing all your colors together kind of in the same space, never really letting your paints fully dry so that you can blend them on the canvas and also blend them in your palette. This really comes in handy when you're going from some extreme differences from, say, like the pink in the top right corner to the blue in the top left. Now over on this side, the art was a much more kind of complicated mix of different colors. So first what I did is I pretended that some of the smaller details weren't there and I just painted in the background. Later on you can see that I'm like speckling in different colors on top, like the reds and the whites. A really big thing about this art style is that it's very dreamy, a big reason why people love the Baleful Strix card. So a great way to achieve an effect like that, and this goes for, painting real paintings as well, is just using lots of layers. Starting out with what you imagine would be in the background and just slowly bringing out more and more colors. So, stippling on little bits on top gives that illusion of depth, and don't be afraid to paint over those stipples with more colors from the background, which sort of pushes them back. And you can keep doing these effects over and over again, adding details, washing them out, adding details and washing them out some more. And that will really give you that sense of depth that this original painting has in it. So with a lot of altars, the original art was not intended to go beyond the borders of the card, so sometimes they're missing details. So here I decided to add in, these branches that the owl is sitting on. So I'm just adding a few more. And you can see that I'm going in, adding some more contrast onto those branches to really make sure that they stand out. Now the branches in the art in the middle sort of like fade into these misty clouds in the back, so I'm also going over with multiple layers from using colors from the background to blend those branches into a sort of fog. Just adding the branches to the other side there as well. And they weren't quite matching the contrast of the original branches, so just touching those up with some darker tones. So once the main art of the card is done, I will usually just move down to the bottom of the card. Personal preference, but I usually just like to fade it out to something a little more uninteresting while still keeping with the color theme of the rest of the card. So I'll borrow colors from up top, but just really bring down the brightness on them, adding in some blacks and grays. You really want your eye to be drawn to the original art of the card. And people aren't really looking for details in the bottom. So on a card like this, I sort of just play around with the movement of the art from above, the colors from the art and above, and just sort of blend it down to the bottom into a nice darker tone. So once the card is more or less done, I like to take a bit of soft plastic. You can use a toothpick and just scrape off the paint that went over the edges a little bit. This really cleans up the edges and gives it a nice finished professional look. And there it is, one Baleful Strix done. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you want to see more.